before sending these back to Melanie, I remembered again to give my updated thoughts and opinions on each of these. Let's see, so these three are as they were. I have added some 3M skive tape, some really thin stuff, 1-inch wide strip to each side of one of these to try them out, because really all three of them are getting really stuck on me, so I couldn't, they wouldn't actually function. So let me make a little room here, because this slider, when I do certain moves like that, it comes apart. It's like this one, every time. It's heavy for the magnet strength. Like there are, 10 magnets per plate, and so if you use it as just a push slider, it does feel good. But if you go to try to pivot on just one of the corners, there's not quite enough bite there. So it's really, I guess by design, a track slider, since it's got the tracks for the balls. So going up and down is what it's meant to do, and I bet it does that best. I like it with the tape on it. It's definitely very smooth and has like a, this thing's chunky. Definitely unique, but it comes, oh God, it comes apart. All right, on to this guy. I went and watched Melanie's video. There's supposed to be like a bit of a difference between the two sides. I don't really get that. I put tape on this side. It's hard to tell because it's almost the same color as the brass, but I did it on the side without the little engraved logo, so it would be clean. Melanie, I'll ask you if you want me to take all this tape off before shipping it back, but I might leave it on there just so you can see how they are with them, because I feel like it really improved at least these three. I do kind of like how this one is quiet. The magnets are a little weak, but that's where the quietness is coming from, If you have stronger magnets with bigger jumps, more impact force, more haptic force, more sound. So this one's could be unique. Again, it needed the tape. There was a couple times where I would use it. I couldn't even get it to move without like really straining. So like, I don't know if it was like maybe my skin oils reacting with the perfectly flat plates. That being the thing with this too. Like this has flat surface contact. And yeah, these things were getting entirely stuck on me to where I couldn't even use them at all without excessive force. So yeah, this one's interesting. It's ergonomic. There's no hot spots. It's definitely soft, kind of smooth, but there's still some ridges that provide a little bit of, grip and texture. You don't need a lot of grip and texture though, since the magnets are so soft. But it at least still holds itself together on ladders, unlike the stainless guy. So yeah, not too bad. I think in Melanie's video she said it was like $180 or $200 or something. That I couldn't see. I would just go get any magnet slider or a base wrapped for like $220. Like it's just all stainless solid body wrapped. This is like, yeah. I'll leave it at that. Onto the Zephyr. I think it was by 2R Designs. This one was getting hung up on me a little bit with the brass plates. I've heard people talk about that, but it wasn't as bad as these other two getting hung up. So I've got the same skive tape on this side. It's almost wide enough to cover all the plates, but it definitely covers all the areas where there's contact force. This thing actually, like, I kind of really like it. It's kind of ugly. Like the meat tenderizer pattern in the middle it's out of place. It doesn't fit with like this beautiful inside pattern. We just got nice simple rings and chamfers on the main part of the body, but then meat tenderizer. I don't get that. So this one with the added tape made it just where it's a little more consistent. That was my bad. And it just, I don't know. I like it more like this. Again, I went back and watched Melanie's video this morning and saw that it came with, I think, Ultim plates too, some kind of plastic. Seemed interesting, but you know, the tape maybe is kind of similar to that. Very consistent now. Lowered the noise just a little bit, deepened the tone a little. I should touch on the main thing I like about this slider. So whenever you're doing pivots and rotations, you see how that curve bit is interacting with my finger? It's like having two rotating pieces, you know, work together instead of like hard edges that you're pushing against. It's, I don't know, there's just something about like almost like two wheels working together. So especially if you do like the T-pose, the oval shape it really works for this 4x2 layout and being very comfortable to pivot, because you're pivoting. It's a round motion, you know, a radius motion. So it makes sense to have a round shape moving in a radius as compared to rectangular or square shapes. It just kind of works with how the hand is designed and shaped. So yeah, this thing's pretty cool. I like it. I don't know why I'm sitting here throwing it around. I think just because I've been messing with other fidgets. The magnet layout, you know, the 4x2, they are pretty close together on the inside of this thing. So I think I'm just pushing a little too far and getting off of the pivot point, because it's a rather wide slider with a very with narrow columns of magnets. All right, so that's the see, there it is again. The trackless sliders that I put tape onto the Toad. I think from my initial impressions and everything's still about the same. It's good, it's grippy, it's ergonomic, but it still has a couple, you know, little points and hot spots that are just maybe just a little too much. I don't need that, so it's just not quite for me. The Teflon plates are great. Magnets are softer than my Snake. I've compared that a couple times, so I'm curious about that. It's kind of interesting. Something I just thought about too now. The magnets, like each position of the magnets on my Snake, the plates are like, they're raised where the magnets are. So there's, you know, 8 little bumps, whereas this one is definitely smoother, and you can tell Melanie's been using this one a lot. Some of the divots are even worn away, like right there. See that? Can't even see the divot anymore. It's been worn flat. That's pretty awesome though. I asked you one time how many hours of use you had on this thing. It shows. It's pretty awesome. So one thing I was curious about. So your screws are definitely loose. I will be Loctiting that for you. Where's my Loctite? Ah, right here. I'll do that before shipping these back later. Get them all at a nice even torque, and yeah, they're all varying degrees of looseness. Maybe it'll make it a little more consistent. I wonder if that'll change how the magnets feel too. I don't really ever like fuck with the plates on these magnet sliders very much for tuning purposes. I just want it to be tight and secure, and that's that. All right, yep, that's the titanium Teflon Toad. Onto the M3 spinner. Still this hot spot. It's a slight bother, but if I modify my grip, it's better. I just don't like having to change what I like to do and how I like to interact with things to make it suit me, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Probably can't hear over the dehumidifier running here in the shop, but I really do love the quiet whir and ring of this stainless body and grips in combination with a particular hybrid ceramic bearing. Hoping it'll just translate through. Yeah, it's just a very low whir and ring. It's just kind of, it's nice. And it's super smooth and balanced. It judders, you know, about like an average, normal-sized bar spinner. All right, here's another one I went back and watched the video on. This is I think it was called the Cow Magic Coin. What a fucking disaster in there. I kind of fucked with it a little bit, taking it apart after watching her video. I don't have any of the other little magnets or anything to try, so I haven't really messed with it that much, but it's, there's just a lot better options for the money, to put it simply. Like, it's kind of unique, and you can do multiple things with it, so I guess if maybe you, fuck, I don't know, for a multi-fidget, maybe it's not that bad. I just haven't experienced many multi-fidgets and ways that it can be configured. This current center part doesn't spin like very good for having a precision bearing in there. Like, I can't table spin it very long because of the magnet configuration that's under it that makes this plate behave differently. So it's there's 4 positions, but then there's also intermediate positions if you change directions. So there's 4 positions that are every 90 degrees this way, but then in between you've got these little bumps. So I don't know, it's kind of unique, but it has, you know, low haptics, and it's, yeah, just not my kind of thing, I guess. It is very smooth. These bearings right here, types of bearings, big ring bearings, they're pretty rigid, and you know, they're always smooth feeling, so it's not bad in that aspect. It's just not very haptic-y, and it's not very spinny, and it's, yeah, so it's just kind of okay. Yeah. I think that'll be it for Fidgets from Melanie. I've got to box them up and send them back. We've got a couple of things I'm gonna include for her too. Melanie, thank you. See ya.